All right, you guys, so welcome to our training with Lakin and Ashley. I am so pumped. This is our fall training series, and these gorgeous ladies have very graciously offered their expertise and their time to do a training. So we have had Lakin do some team training with us on Shout and texting and all the things that go along with Shout, and she is truly the expert. Like if I have a question, actually, I am always like, Lakin, please help me. Please do this. Please do that. Like, she's so great. She's truly the expert, hands down, the best trainer when it comes to walking through the process of Shout. She knows it inside and out, and she's fabulous. And then Ashley has had tremendous success with using Shout and utilizing it for parties and follow up. And she has done amazing things with that. So I'm going to turn it over to these beautiful ladies. And if you guys have questions during when they're talking, go ahead, comment off to the side and we can answer them at the end. But I'm going to turn it over to you ladies. So thank you so much for taking time to do this for us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Megan, for having us in the Connect team. We're so excited. Ashley and I have been talking about this. And yes, if you have questions or if you want us to dive a little bit deeper into something one-on-one, feel free to message either of us. We're going to kind of make this as short and powerful as possible and give you some really good things that you can take away and apply to your business. So first, I just want to lay a little bit of a foundation for those of you who haven't done texting, or for those of you that have and are currently doing it, maybe just a reminder of how good texting is. So I want to share a little bit some of the awesome things that I love about it. I love, and some of the power that comes from texting is the open rate. We are not fighting the algorithm with text messages. We are not getting pushed down in people's email inboxes. It is a great way to be seen and get your message across to your customers. It also has an incredible response rate. So you know that sometimes you can post something on social media and it gets lots of love and it's really wonderful. And then sometimes it's kind of a dud. And same with our emails, it's a different marketing tool. And so it just doesn't get as much response, but it doesn't mean people aren't seeing it or it's not valuable. There is value in all different ways that we market, but text just has an incredible open and response rate. The other thing that I love is that it's such a personal connection that you can have with people when it comes to texting. There are these walls that we put up when we are on social media, and you can be messaging somebody on Facebook Messenger on their phone. But when you are out of Facebook and you're in their actual text messages, it is incredible. You can just really feel like a friend and have a lot of great connections. And so those are some of my favorite things. I know Ashley will probably touch on some of hers, but that's some of the power that comes from texting. Now, I always like to start and be really upfront with some of the problems, because every marketing tool has downsides. There is the good and bad of both. But when we know some of the problems, we can plan to avoid them and resolve them and do our best to not fall into those things. And so some of the problems with texting, like I mentioned, it's so personal. It can become really annoying or spammy. You can also become white noise if you're messaging too much or too often the same kind of content. And so we want to avoid that. That's a kind of a big problem with texting. The other problem is once somebody says stop, you can't text them anymore. You can't connect with them via text. And I'm a big believer that not all stops are bad, but if you are being annoying, you are becoming white noise, then those stops are bad because you're not being able to really utilize the full power of texting with them. The other problem with texting, which thankfully is not a problem for any of us, but it can be difficult to know what texting platform to use. You cannot do text marketing with your personal texting cell phone. You have to have a program, and there's a lot out there. And over the years, as I've worked with ZyreUp specifically and other businesses, I've used a plethora of different texting platforms, and I've tested them out, and they all have their good and their bad. And it can be hard to know which one to choose and then how to actually use the platform. That learning curve can take a lot of time and energy away from those things that are really building your business. So the solution is having help with your text marketing and partnering with Shout. And so I am so excited. Ashley and I are going to kind of go back and forth here, but she's going to share a little bit about just kind of her experience as a rep in your seat. What did she do with texting?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me here today. I appreciate it so much. So just a little background on how I heard about Lakin, how I heard about Shout. All of that happened last year at Summit. So last year was the first time I attended Summit, and that is when Zaya announced its partnership with. Oh, sorry. Um, Zaya announced their partnership with Shout text messaging. And I knew the moment they announced that, I was like, bingo, that is what I need. I didn't know how I was going to figure it out. That's where Lakin came in, right? But I knew that was going to be the key to changing the trajectory of my business. I feel like I had been fairly successful up until that point, running all of my parties on Facebook, providing exceptional customer service. But I was doing that in Facebook and on Facebook Messenger. And Facebook Messenger is just a platform that honestly, I really didn't utilize until I became a Zaya rep. So I know that for the average person using social media, they may or may not be using Facebook Messenger to communicate with their friends and family. Whereas text messaging, everybody text messages, right? Every single person that has a cell phone uses text message to communicate. Like my 84-year-old grandmother text messages. So now she'll be like, well, I saw this thing on Facebook and I saw it and it went away. So she's not Facebook savvy, but she knows how to text message. So I'm like, bingo. I knew that this text messaging was going to be the key to unlocking the next phase of my business, but I needed to learn how to use it. Shout is the program. It's the what, but Lakin is the how, right? So I knew that the program, Shout, the program was going to be fantastic, but I knew looking at it right away and seeing what they have with their kind of Q&A section, just a little bit I dabbled sitting in my seat at Summit. I'm like, I need more than this. I need much more. And I need a person that I can reach out to, that I can ask questions, that I can be a pestery Polly until I have it down. And that's where Lakin came into the picture. So I mean, to say that it changed the trajectory of my business sounds dramatic, but it truly, truly changed the trajectory of my business. You can go back and track my personal sales and see where they were at before Lakin and Strong Start and where they were at after Lakin and Strong Start. And it is so substantial and such a huge shift that is the only thing I really changed in my business at that time. Besides attending Summit for the first time and getting that experience, the only other thing I changed was how I was communicating with my customers. And that was using Shout by taking on the tools that Lakin taught me how to use Shout with.
Can I ask a quick question? Yeah. And I know you guys are going to get to this later, but I know there's a lot of people that are going to tune in. And the question that's going to just be ringing in their ears right away is, how did you decide financially to go this route? How do you because it's like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can invest that. But can you talk about what your thought process was during that, being a rep with 2 babies at home and all of that? Because I'm sure you played those scenarios in your head too.
Absolutely. So all of our time is our most valuable resource. It's the one thing that you cannot get back, right? So I was devoting all this time to following up with my customers. I have followed up with every single customer on every single order since day one of becoming a rep. So I was doing the do. I was following up with my customers before I started using Shout to follow up with them. However, all of those follow-ups that I was doing, all that time that I was investing in following up, checking in, how's your order? Hey, it's just me again. Wanted to see if you had a chance to try on your items. Maybe 50% of those were completely falling by the wayside. I wasn't falling by the wayside. I was doing 100% of my follow-ups. 100%, I was devoting the time, right? So I knew that the financial investment, I was still going to be following up, but it was going to be worth my investment. My return on investment was going to be there because of the increased response rate that I knew. My grandma doesn't use Facebook Messenger, but she does text message. And that told me something about that if there are people out there who don't use Facebook Messenger, and that's the only way I'm following up with them, that I'm touching back with them, and then they're just gone. These warm leads, right? These people who got Zaya and maybe fell in love with it, and they never know that I followed up with them to check in and see what they thought. So they just think, oh yeah, it's another another gal selling another thing, and I love the product, but I don't even know how to get back in touch with her, right? I was still doing that work. So to me, when I sat down and crunched the figures, I thought, I'm already devoting this time, and my time is my most valuable resource. So I want to get the most bang for my buck. And it has paid me back in dividends. It took time, it took commitment, it took, taking all the principles of Strong Start and really putting the work in, and then staying consistent with it and trusting the process, that it wasn't something that was going to necessarily happen overnight, but I trusted what Lakin was sharing with me. And in doing so, I have seen that investment pay me back well over many times over every single month.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that's a great question. We want to dive in here. We're going to share some tips about what you can do right now to help your business. But before we do, like Robin said, we wanted to talk a little bit about Strong Start and that investment, so that you kind of have a clear understanding of that. So kind of going off of what Ashley said, it is an investment in your business, right? It costs to use Shout. And if you want to be part of my Strong Start program, that costs a little bit too. But then you're going to make that back. And I really feel like I can say confidently that everyone makes their investment back if they stick with it and if they are consistent with it. I know we have some gals on here that have done Strong Start last year, and immediately they booked more parties. Immediately they got sales, more people in their VIP group. And so it's just that little scary jump that gets you there to see a lot of success. With Strong Start, for those of you who don't know, and we can post about this in the page too, we're kicking off on Wednesday. So in just a couple days, and this is my 30-day program. It's based on a Monday through Friday. And every morning I post a video tutorial and a little to do with it. And the days that the tutorial is a little bit longer, you have a couple days to go through it. So it's very manageable no matter how busy your schedule is. I have gotten tons of feedback on, like, it keeps me on pace, it keeps me accountable, and that makes all of the difference. I'm going to walk you through from the very beginning of, I don't know how to use Shout. Like Ashley said, maybe you've looked at it and you feel overwhelmed. You don't know how to use it, but we're going to talk about what package you want with Shout. We're going to talk about how to get your customers uploaded. I'm going to be there every step of the way to make sure you get that done right. I'm going to help you with your very first text. How do I introduce this to my customers? And then how long do I wait to send my next one and my third one? And what should I say? We're going to go through all of the strategy, all of the content, so you really have somebody holding your hand the whole way through it. Strong Start is just $25. So for $25, you're going to get all of those trainings, all of the support, all of the content. And then if you stay with us, you kind of move into what Ashley's done, and a lot of you have done for this past year, is part of our Golden Growth program, where you have continued content and continued support. So Ashley, do you have anything to add about Strong Start or some of these things I covered?
No, I think that was excellent. I just wanted to say that is how I did it, was this 30-day course. And for someone who, I'm pretty type A, in case nobody picked up on that. But I definitely thrive on a schedule and a routine. So having the 30-day program and knowing that, okay, even if things are a little bit confusing or I need some additional help with that, you have that access with Lakin. Whereas with Shout, you don't necessarily, I've had to reach out, and that's nothing against Shout. Obviously, I love their platform. It's just that the questions I've asked Shout, sometimes I've had to go to Lakin and say, oh, I got this answer from Shout. And she's like, oh, no, this is what you need. So having that personalized one-on-one connection with somebody to be able to ask them, hey, I don't understand this, or this is confusing to me. And she is just so on top of it. So and having that paced out course, 30 days, it puts you on a schedule. I'm really big on, when you make a commitment, especially a financial commitment, you have some responsibility there. You have some buy-in, right? And how many times do we subscribe to things and then we don't use them? So I cannot recommend this particular 30-day course enough. If you're interested in doing text marketing, if you're interested in using Strong Start, sign up for the class starting on Wednesday. You can do it. You can do it. You can work it into your schedule. She really does chunk it up so nicely and gives you plenty of time to work on it. I promise.
Thank you. It's true. I want you to be successful in it. And if you're kind of on the fence, you're like, I don't know if this is right for my business, please reach out to me. I'll ask you a few questions to kind of gauge where your business is at. And I'll be honest with you, because I don't want you to jump into something if it's not going to really be a huge benefit for you. And like Ashley said, I mean, I have loved being behind the scenes and seeing how her business has changed and her relationships and just seeing her flourish and blossom. It's been so awesome. And so as we've collaborated, because Ashley, she's asked me a lot of questions over the years and we've talked a lot and it's been so fun. We talked about, okay, what are some tips that we can give the Connect team that will really help them not only with Shout and Strong Start and texting, but just in their business in general. The goal was about Shout and texting, but I think as we talked, we realized, wait, they need this just for life. So we're going to share a couple tips here before we're wrapping things up. Ashley, you want to start off with some of yours?
Yeah, so I spoke on this at Summit, and it's my plan, pivot, and don't panic. So at the beginning of every month, I sit down, I have my Zaya bestie, right? And we sit down together and we plan out what is our month going to look like. What are we going to be doing in our VIP group? I now do my Facebook parties in my VIP group. I only party once a month. For 10 days for Facebook parties. I do text message parties whenever. I will take as many as I can. But I do one 10-day Facebook multi-hostess party a month in my VIP group. So it even starts with that. I mean, I have my party weeks planned out now for the rest of the year. So I sit down, I look at my family schedule and I go, okay, what 10-day period is the best for me, right? And my family, and what do we have going on? So that's like part of planning. What am I going to be doing in my VIP group? I like to pump one really big fun thing that happens in my VIP group during my multi-hostess party. So right now I kicked off my multi-hostess party yesterday with 5 hostesses. I'm running a leggings and joggers challenge, and it's open to everybody, my VIPs or the people who are there from the parties. My VIP group has also grown from these parties. Just I think 36 people this morning I counted. I have 36 new VIPs. So I open that up to everybody. Any pair of leggings or joggers this month purchased throughout the 15th through the 25th gets you an entry. We fill a card, I give away, but I plan that out ahead of time, right? With my Zaya bestie, we plan it out. What's the fun thing we're going to do? Last month we had double hostess rewards. So I gave away $150 shopping spree every time we filled a card. There were 20 spots, every $50 order got you an entry, right? Like I plan that stuff out. And then I also pivot, right? If Zaya announces something awesome and we're like, whoa, wait a minute, this is so great, we have to reevaluate, be open to pivoting. But having that plan and having those things in place, knowing what you're going to be doing really helps to kind of alleviate the stress. I used to get really stressed out on the first of the month when Zaya would have their call and I felt like I was drinking from a fire hose. Like, oh, I've got to get on right now and talk about all the things going on, right? Having the plans in place that I do in terms of when am I partying? What am I doing during my parties? What else am I doing in my VIP group for the month? What are my text message parties look like? When am I scheduling those based on the needs of my family? What kind of fun things am I doing? Planning that out then allows me to better receive the amazingness that Zaya is blessing us with at the beginning of each month. And then I can look and go, oh, my plan is still good. Like I was right on track. Or, hey, wow, they gave us this really awesome thing. So maybe I'll save my leggings and joggers challenge for November. And instead I'll do this because Zaya is doing that. But planning, right? When you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And I am big on planning. So it always starts with a plan and then being able to pivot and of course not panicking, because all of this is supposed to be fun and enjoyable, right? You always have to remember why you fell in love with Zaya, and you fell in love with Zaya for the company that it is, the clothing that we have. And it was fun to shop Zaya. So it should be fun to sell Zaya.
So good. I wish I could have been there at Summit because I'm sure there was so many more things you shared. But one thing that I wanted to kind of comment on that Ashley and I had talked about when it comes to planning for text messages is that at the beginning of every single month after Strong Start, I provide content for you that you can text out to your customers so that it really takes the thinking out of it. I want you to focus on just responding to your customers and connecting with them and not overthink and overstress about what you're going to say every single time. And I know for Ashley, she kind of looks at that content and she decides, okay, what works with my month, what works with my plans to fit these texts in, and then she pivots as Zaya comes out with things. Do you want to share anything else about that?
Yeah, I just am very mindful because of you and your teachings about how often I am texting things out. So again, I'm planning when Lakin disperses her content. So Zaya has their monthly leadership call where they tell us, here's the super cool things happening at Zaya this month. And then the beautiful part is that if you decide to stay with Lakin's training after Strong Start, it turns into Golden Growth. And it's the same cost, $25 a month. But what you get for that $25 a month is the day after Zaya does their leadership call, she cranks out all this beautiful content with graphics and verbiage for you to go in and make your own, add your own voice, right? And to decide out of everything that she gave you, what pieces do you want to use? Because you don't use all of it. You don't want to become white noise, right? So after I have that content from her the day after our leadership call, that's also when I sit down and I go, okay, when was the last time I messaged all my customers? All right, has it been at least 10 to 14 days? Okay, out of this content that she has created, which speaks to me and my customers the most, which feels like it's the most authentic to who I am? Then I dive into the content that she's created and I make it my own. I take the bones of what she's given me, but I add my own voice because Lakin's voice isn't necessarily my voice, right? And my customers, they know that. So I make sure that it sounds like me. And then I plan out of these pieces, when am I going to text those things out so that I don't become white noise to them, because I want to continue to experience the benefits of text marketing.
So good. Thank you so much. Okay, I've got a tip for you guys too. As Ashley and I were talking about different things. And so one thing that I have that's been on my mind a lot is that you are marketers. Maybe you don't feel like you're a marketer, but that is part of your job as a Zaya rep, is to market your business. And like Ashley said, Zaya may come out with lots of different things, but you decide what you want to share. You don't have to share everything that is shared. And obviously you can too. So as I was thinking about this, I have been thinking about a lot that the way you post on social media is different than the way you send an email, and it is completely different than the way you send a text. And so I want to kind of just give you an example and share a little bit about that, because it looks different and it feels different. When you post on social media, let's say, for example, we had this big sale with it was 50 to 75% off Zaya items. On Facebook, you may go live, you may make a few posts, and then at the end, you may say, sale, sale, sale. Our sale is ending soon, 50 to 70% off Zaya. Get it before it's sold out. It closes at 11 p.m. Eastern time. If you need help building a cart, I'm totally here for you. Check with me on sizing. Here's a link to shop. And then you have lots of graphics and pictures of all the things, right? And so it's very exciting. It has a lot of information there. It has probably a lot of different emojis and things that will stop their scroll to look at what you're saying. And if you were to take that same content and put it in an email, you would do it a little bit different. You would break it up. You would have your pictures spread throughout the email. You would have multiple links, where in the post, maybe you would just have 1 or 2 links. It looks different, even though it's the same thing. And for your text message, that is going to just be really shrunk down, really simple, really personal. I want my customer to feel like I just texted them about the sale. So I might say something like, hey, Ashley, I just wanted to remind you that our 50 to 70% off sale is ending tonight. I'd love to help you pick out some items for fall. Would you like help building a cart? Shop here with the link. So all of that excitement, all of the pictures, all of the emojis was great for social media. We were able to rework it for email, but for our text, we're just going to be so simple. Because now when Ashley gets that text, she thinks, oh, wow, Lakin really cared about me. She knows I love Zaya. She knew I didn't want to miss out on this sale. She just checked in with me. But the secret is I sent that text to Ashley and to Megan and to Robin and Savannah and Jackie and Pam and Lisa and everybody on the call, right? I sent it to all of my customers, but you each individually feel like, I am so thoughtful and thought of you individually. And it's true, you want to individually reach out to all of your customers, but that's the beauty of text marketing, is you can. It just doesn't take as much time or energy from your plate. And so when you are writing text and when you're looking at my content to even edit it so that it kind of has your own style and your own taste, I want you to keep that in mind. We want to keep it so simple, so to the point. Save the emojis and flashy and excitement for social media. Not just because that is a little bit better to market on social media, but also sometimes our text can get flagged as spam. So if we have too many capital letters, we have too many emojis. There's a reason why, I create content a certain way and has a certain voice behind it, because I want people to feel connected to it. And I also don't want it to get flagged by the cell phone carriers. And so there's a lot of thought that goes behind all of the content and the messaging. But as you do things, whether you're marketing on Facebook or email or text, keep in mind, where am I marketing to? What's appropriate for that space? And I know that you'll have a lot more success as you market when you keep that in mind, and not just copy and paste from one platform to the next, but be intentional with that. So I hope that helps. Do you have anything to add to that, Ashley?
No, I think that was fantastic.
Awesome. So those are kind of our tips. We have a few more things that we'll share as we're wrapping it up. One, just like what's next, sign up for Strong Start if you haven't. And if you already are part of Golden Growth and you want just to refresh, message me and I'll add you to the group, because this is the perfect place if you want the accountability or you just want to refresh on the trainings. But if you've never done it, it's going to be the greatest place to be too. We'll have guest speakers and giveaways. And so it's a fun time. It's not just boring trainings. But Ashley, I wanted you to mention, you talked about parties. And so I was hoping you just mentioned texting parties a little bit.
Sure. Okay. The only other thing I wanted to add about sign up for Strong Start, do that for sure. And buddy up with somebody. When I went through the course, there were 4 or 5 of us who were doing it at the same time. We just created a group messenger chat and we were able to kind of ask questions of each other and see if we could answer questions. And if one of us reached out to Lakin and got an answer, we could come back and give it to the others, because that's how you really know that you grasp something, is if you can teach it down to someone else, right? So I recommend that as well. Like, there's power in numbers. It's always more fun to do something with someone. And now that group has transitioned. We have a group called Texting Gals, and like, it's a group of us and we talk about different ideas for texting and how are we adding things to our texting party and making them our own. And do you think it's a good idea to add this, or should we take this out? And it's become such an incredibly creative hub from that started because we all went through this class together. So do it with a friend, do it, sign up, get it done, find a buddy, and then it's just amazing. So the text message parties, that came after Strong Start. So yes, you have to have the Strong Start foundations. I started text message marketing last September or October. I can't remember which, but it was one of those two. I did not start Party Animals texting until after January, because I was still just getting my feet wet with text marketing and really wanted to get a good grasp on it. But in hindsight, I wish I had not waited that long. I wish I was just a little nervous. Like, do I really want to do it? Do I really want to try? Why am I going to fix what's not broken? My Facebook parties are already working, but it's so beautiful to be able to offer a different party platform to people, especially in an election year, who are not necessarily on Facebook, or they're on Facebook, but their friends and family are not on Facebook. It's so wonderful to be able to offer them these private, personalized 2-day text message parties. And that is what Party Animals is. But you have to have the foundation of Strong Start. You have to learn how to crawl, right, with Strong Start before you run with Party Animals and whoop it up. But I highly recommend it. So if you finish Strong Start and you're like, man, I want to do text message parties, definitely jump into Party Animals as well. Don't wait as long as I did.
Oh, that's so good. And we're not going to do a whole synopsis of all the things with Party Animals on this call, but I have done a training in the Connect group. And so reach out to me and I can tag you in that. If you're like, okay, I'm signing up for Strong Start, but I'm curious about Party Animals, just so maybe you're somebody who likes to plan ahead and know what's on the horizon and what all that entails, I can get you tagged in that so you can have more details of that. I will say that Ashley and I talked a lot about Party Animals, and maybe some of you have done it, or if you're on it or you're off it. but she has found that for her, and I think this is true with all reps, the secret is how involved your hostess is. And I'm so excited because Ashley's going to do a training with me later this month, exclusive for our Party Animals texting group, where she is going to really pull back the curtain on what she has done with the trainings and then made it her own, jumped forward with that. And so if you're in Party Animals, look for a message for that. If you're not and you want to be sure you plug in. For those of you that are doing Strong Start first and you can't make it to the Party Animals group yet, we'll have it recorded and you'll have access to that. But I'm so excited to learn more from her because she's just awesome. So I think that's all we have to share. Did you have anything else, Megan? Any questions?
I didn't see any unless anybody wants to unmute. Did you guys have any questions for Lakin and Ashley?
So Lakin, can you get us the best verbiage for, since this is starting what, Wednesday? The next round, the best verbiage, the best graphic that we can then share out to our teams. And then my next question is, when is it too late? Let's say somebody, it's Friday and they're like, I went in. When is that like, you have to do it the next round?
Yeah, great question. So, well, first, my next round will probably be January. I'm kind of doing it twice a year. I love this time at Q4 where we're ramping up. If you're doing texting now, then you're going to be ready to earn the trip come January, right? And so this really is the best time. And if not, we'll start it in January. But I say that the doors are closed on Wednesday. That's when we're kicking off. But I always like crack it open a little bit. So as long as you're in by the weekend, we can get you caught up enough to still be successful. I never want to leave anybody out, but we are very like strategic and steady. And so if you aren't keeping up with us, then it just makes you more frustrated. And I don't love that. I also have a self-paced program though. So for those that totally missed the boat and they don't want to wait till January, I have self-paced. I've had lots of girls do the self-paced program. Some of them zip through it. Some of them take their time. But I will say, I feel like the reps that are most successful do the program with accountability with the group. So I will definitely get you some information though that you can share with your group chats and things. I have like a link that's kind of an email you can pass around that has a bunch of information too.
Lakin, you were going to also post that to Connect, correct? Like a post that says starting when, like a reminder, this is starting Wednesday with all the detailed information with the link.
Yes, I will do that too. So you can tag your gals in that after this call. Thanks.
Awesome. Anyone else have any other questions?
I have a question. I have done the Strong Start and I am using Shout. You know, I need to be more consistent with getting those monthly messages out. And I really, really want to do the text parties and I just am struggling to get that going. And I would love to be a part of somebody else's party if anybody has one going on. I can't like wrap my head around, like I want to do one that I'm hosting and I'm just struggling with how I invite people to that, like, so that it makes sense. And maybe it's really a no-brainer and I'm just making it really too hard, but that's kind of where I'm struggling. So I'd love to see kind of how it flows if anybody has one going on.
Yeah, Lisa, I will message you and like give you some info and then kind of connect with some other people too. Totally.
It's good.
I so love that question because yes, you hit it right on the head because I think I haven't seen it done. I haven't been a part and so it is kind of like a out there. I would love to be a part of one. Like if somebody did a guinea pig party, I'd be like, yes, okay, I get it now.
Even if
Like,
there's
can
just a
I
sample one.
volunteer? Like if I'm not sure when my next text message party is. Like I said, my goal is always to book parties within a party. So I have a Facebook party going on right now. And I always offer those too. But you ladies, if Lakin wants to get your information, and then I would be more than happy to invite you. I think the key too is really going to be to tune into that Party Animals training that I'm going to do with Lakin and show you all the behind the scenes things that I'm doing for hostess coaching, my text message party hostesses, because it's not just me doing all the work. They really do have to build an adequate guest list, right? They have to take the verbiage that I am giving them to blast out to their 30 to 50 people that I'm asking them to invite so that we get 10 to 12 to 15 in their text message party. and making it their own, right? And then following up with their guests and checking in, sending them a text and saying, hey, did anything catch your eye today? I love their sports bras. If you need recommendations, let me know. There's definitely some things that I'm doing working with my hostesses outside of the amazing content that Lakin is giving us for the, sorry, that was my alarm to pull my casserole. I don't want to burn it. So don't let me forget, you guys, okay? But it is, so that hostess coaching piece is something that I have added to my text message parties that I've created with my Zaya bestie, that we said, hey, these bones are great, but we really need to be partnering with our hostess behind the scenes to try to make these parties as successful as possible. So I am more than happy to include you ladies so that you see the text message party content that guests are receiving. But I think what I'm hearing from both of you, if I'm not mistaken, Lisa and Robin, is that you really want to see, hey, what are you doing behind the scenes to have hostesses, you know, because you'll learn the how to blast it out through Lakin. She's going to show you how to do all that with Strong Start, how to send a broadcast message, which is really what you're doing with a party. You're sending a series of broadcast messages to your guest list. I think what you ladies are really itching for is to hear, how are you partnering with your hostess to make those text message parties successful?
Yeah, I agree. But I also think like it just hit me like recently that when you're doing a texting party and I'm maybe slow, it's not everybody on one thread like you have with your fam bam chat on texting.
Oh yeah, no. And
It's the messages are
so
going individually out to everybody, Lisa.
100%. And I think that right there, that key, I found that was something super important to tell my hostesses. When somebody says, hey, Ashley, I'll book a party. Sure, I've got a party going on right now on Facebook. Book a party, pick a prize, right? That's something else I do to get parties booked. And they say, I'll book a party with you. The first thing I ask them is, would you like to do a 10-day multi-hostess Facebook party with me? Or would you like to do a 2-day private one-on-one text message party? And then I explain that exact thing. You, Robin, let's just say you're my hostess and you're like, do I want to do a Facebook party or a texting party? If you choose to do a texting party, Robin, you are not responsible for texting out the content of your party. I'm going to give you a few things to text out when you're inviting, but everything else, I run the text messages. And the other thing to know, Robin, is that it's not a group text message. You're not going to be getting ping, 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 ping. They're individual text messages. So anyone on your party list is getting a text just like if their mom or dad or son or daughter had texted them. It is important to delineate that, because I do think I had a lot of people who were hesitant to do the text parties for that exact reason. They thought, oh, I don't want to be part of a text thread.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it just would be really helpful, at least for me, because I feel like I'm kind of visual that way, or I want to experience it, like what other people are going through. So I would love to be a part of one of your parties, Ashley, or anybody else who maybe has one going. Just to kind of get a feel for how it works, because I'm struggling to get started and I really want to do it.
Yes. Oh, I'm so glad you spoke up and asked. And I think with what Ashley has said, it's so true. You know, it's the coaching, it's the helping, but you seeing it, like if I'm a guest, what does that look like, so that you can know what you're offering and what you're saying to people. What I think is the best thing, though, to add to that, is be part of Party Animals, go through the training so that you know all of the ins and outs, you know, at least have a basis. You might have to watch it again, but go have that a little bit foundation. And then when we do Ashley's training, her and I can work together to make a party that we can invite all of the Party Animals to experience. And then you can do some of your behind the scenes. I think that would be really awesome.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome to just do a demo party.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for speaking up and sharing. That's great.
Thank you.
And I pulled the casserole, so don't worry, guys. Dinner is saved.
I wish we were all invited over.
I know. I'm like, I'm jealous of dinner ready. I'm like,
I know, right?
I don't even know what we're having yet. So you're good. I'm like, you're amazing. Awesome. Anyone else have any other questions? Those are good. So when Lakin and Ashley get that training put together, Lakin will make sure to get me all that info. We'll get it posted. We'll get it out to the team, and you guys will have all of that info. Anyone have anything else? Ashley, your little one. I can see an arm waving. That's
Oh.
it. Oh, so cute. Well, Lakin and Ashley, thank you guys so much. This was awesome. I know we could like sit here for hours just picking both of your brains. So I appreciate you. And I'm glad we're going to have like a 2.0 training to this. I think that will be awesome. But I will get this recording out right away. And then at the beginning, Lakin and I were just talking, we'll also text it out to the team so that everybody has a direct link to it and can view it. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you. And please don't hesitate to reach out with questions. My inbox is always open. I'm happy to. It's such a great way to connect with people and get to know. I've had a few people reach out since Summit, and you're not bothering me. I love it. So please don't hesitate to reach out.
Awesome. We appreciate that so much, Ashley. Thanks, guys.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.